join. We got 0 so far, so there's no point in starting.
Right.
Okay.
I mean, Scott is a big favorite, though, against Joe Teat, in my opinion.
Nice. Nobody yet. We got one. I'm gonna sign into the internet real quick. Should already had this done, but that's okay. I got a couple people watching. How's everybody doing tonight? Trying to get on the internet here. Really didn't think this through very well. Sign in for guest Wi-Fi, and I have no idea where that's at.
It should be like on your key.
Is that where it's at?
Or yeah, they usually write it on there, or sometimes it's a public.
Nothing there.
Did you try to connect to the network? Like,
Welcome, connected channel guide. No, there's nothing on that.
so like if you go to the bottom right, like you can connect, and
Right.
is it asking for a password? or
Yeah,
is it-
yep, it says Hampton Inn, Bowling Green, Ohio. Log in for guest Wi-Fi. Oh, last name. Oh, okay, here we go.
Right, it might ask for like last name, room number, or something like that.
313. I agree. Yeah, I think we're working. I think it's working. You kidding me? Free Wi-Fi as a large member. No, I don't want to join for free. I just want to get on the internet.
Yeah.
All right, we're good. We're gonna get started and in here, 1 second here. Just make sure we have this set up so that way I can actually see your guys' comments. Because it would not be good for us to start a podcast and not see the chat. Not at all. So, retry again. Technical difficulties, that's all. Connected, medium signal. Okay, so welcome to the podcast, everyone. Tim, welcome to the podcast. Thanks for being on the show. We are, where are we, Tim?
Bowling Green,
Bowling Green, Ohio.
It's western part of the state.
Yes, sir.
20 minutes south of Toledo.
Yes, sir. We're just trying to get connected on the computer here so we can see your guys' chat. Got a few people. Lawrence, how's it going, man? Everything's going good. Are you coming up here, Lawrence, for the tournament? Let us know if you're gonna come. Hopefully we can see that on the chat. You know what we could do? We could just go like this. But then again, I don't know if I want to do that.
Right.
So, all right. So Tim, thanks for being here. Appreciate you taking your time out of your evening, to be on the show. We really appreciate it. I really wish that this was working. But so first off, let's talk about the event tomorrow.
Yeah.
Ale House Championships. We just finished up the early weigh-ins, and then we just had a meal, so that was very enjoyable. We definitely want to thank Juan Carlos Ortega for organizing that. It was a great time. We had good weigh-ins and
30. There were 30 entries.
Yeah, we had
already
30 early entries. That's always good to see for a Friday night early weigh-in. So we're in Bowling Green, Ohio, and we are in the hotel right now, and we're just getting ready for Ale House Championships tomorrow at Ale House Grill, right down the road. Juan Carlos Ortega, he was on the podcast 2 podcasts ago, I think. He was number 3, I do believe. So we talked about the event in that. And so here we are. We are getting ready to make it happen tomorrow. I will be reffing. Tim will be running the brackets. We appreciate his help with this. So Tim, let's talk about what you're doing for Ale House. Like, how are you involved in Ale House?
So Juan contacted me to help run the brackets tomorrow, help with registration, which I agreed to do. We're going to be sending in the results to the new database. What are they calling that now?
Aries,
Aries, yeah, the rankings. So that's my main role in in helping with the event. I also do have a super match. There's I believe there's 5 super matches on the card tomorrow.
Nice.
So I'll be pulling Dominic Wiswell, left-handed, best out of 5.
Oh, nice. How do you think that match is gonna go?
Well, I mean, I'm confident, obviously that I'm going to win every match. I wouldn't take it, but he's got a good hand. He's fast. He's hungry. He
Lawrence said
has
he'll be there.
been out of the sport for a little bit, but he did pretty well at the last event that Billy had in East Ohio. I believe he got second place in the 220 left, and he wants a shot at a nationally ranked guy.
Yeah.
So,
Well, he's gonna get it.
All power to him, but I'm gonna say this much: it's not gonna be easy for him because, if I get the match stopped in any way and avoid getting flashed, I don't see myself losing. I'm going to be honest with you. It better be quick.
Yeah. Have you ever pulled Dominic before?
No.
No?
The last
Do you have
time I've
anything to
seen
gauge
Dominic
against?
was, like I said, his dad, Jeremy, was pulling back in 2014, 2015, 2016 during the WAL tournament era. But at that time, Dominic was only probably 15, 16 years old. He's 21 right now.
Yeah.
Now, we did get on the table a little bit and kind of after pool at that, at your Kiwanis. But it wasn't anything legit.
Yeah, I got you.
But yeah, other than that, no. We've never pooled each other before.
Gotcha. Since we are, since we're talking about events, we're gonna switch it up here. Let's talk about your upcoming events.
Okay.
What do you got coming up? In your schedule coming up.
So this match I have with Dominic, obviously here tomorrow. Next week, I'm not pooling, but the BAL is having an event in Pittsburgh, and
Yes,
there's
sir.
like 5 or 6 super matches, and Billy
Yep.
will be there as well, reffing. And I have a lot of friends that have matches there that I will be supporting.
Mm-hmm.
So I will be in attendance there. Um, I just got a match booked now for February 25th in Kansas City. Like, this was recent.
Wow.
I was called out by Easton McCormick in Nebraska.
Oh, okay.
Well, his father actually contacted me and wanted me to have a match with Easton.
Oh, okay. Nice.
So that's going to be right and left arm, cash matches, best of 5. And I believe the name of that event, it's Nat Fit. Brian K. I don't want to botch the last name, but he's the one running the event out there
Okay,
in
gotcha.
Kansas City.
Nice.
March 11th is going to be Cole Casper. I have a
Ooh.
match with him in Wisconsin
Cole's
at Tim
fierce.
Smith's event in La Crosse, Wisconsin. And that's going to be a left-handed match, best out of 5.
Awesome.
And then you set up that match for my right arm in May. At
Garage
the
Wars.
Garage Wars.
Garage Wars. Make sure you guys come out and support the event.
So that's Mike Knapp
Yep.
from, I believe, Akron or Alliance, Ohio.
Yeah, he's from Alliance. Yeah.
He's so that's a pretty local match.
Yeah, that should be nice.
That'll be in East Liverpool, right-handed, best of 5, and we agreed to a 210-pound weight cap for that. And then at your Pottery Festival event,
I'm excited for this one.
Joey Melendez,
Oh, buddy.
best
Left
out of
hand.
5, left-handed
Awesome.
only.
I'm looking forward to that.
He is from Indiana, for those
Yeah.
people that don't know. So that's what I have right now. And I posted this publicly, and I just want to kind of address this. Like some people made a couple comments about like, oh, well, like, what about like this tournament or that tournament? And, I'm going to be
Okay.
honest with you right now. Like,
Yeah.
my focus right now is only on super match format arm wrestling.
Okay.
So, I'm not really, training or, really like looking at anything on the calendar right now in terms of a tournament. It's all on these specific matchups.
But one thing I would like to bring up, though, I mean, like tournaments, though, you've been very much involved in tournaments, even though you're not pulling in them.
Yes.
Like, you've been doing brackets for a lot of different events.
Well, and I mean, I think that I'm pretty good at that.
So
like,
I think that
honestly.
could come into your calendar and affect,
Well, it
the
is.
dates
I mean,
for a lot
I
of
didn't
things.
mention, March 18th, I'm going to help run brackets for an event in Cincinnati. There's something in the works for April that we don't have solidified yet. But if that happens, like, I'm probably going to be running brackets for that as well. But I'm just talking about, like, in terms of competing.
Yeah, competing, yeah.
Personally, I looked at some of my track record last year, and part of what I looked at is I'm like, okay, like I had 3 losses last year in tournaments, left-handed, which is obviously my better arm. I had 3 losses in tournaments last year to guys that I've beaten 3-0 in super matches.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I start really looking at that, and I'm like, well, when I show up in the pool in a tournament, like, I'm showing a worse version of myself. Like, I'm not the same guy that I am in like a 1-versus-1 situation. And a lot of that is because of my style. Because like, once my hand blows up and, once I lose my ability to catch,
Yeah.
that top roller is going to have a big advantage at the start of the match. So it's just my ability to get engagement. It's not like, I mean, I think tournaments are fun, but if I'm not pulling my best in that situation, why would I want to put myself in that situation?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a good point. Let's take 1 second. We're going to go to the chat. Now, I'm doing all this on the cell phone because the computer won't connect to the Wi-Fi. So we're going to check the chat here real quick. Lawrence said earlier, how's everything going? Excited for tomorrow? And he said, yes, he'll be there. Awesome.
Good.
Hope to see you tomorrow there, Lawrence. Hope you pull well. Josh Batchelor was here. He says, yo. What up, Josh? Thanks for watching.
Josh, the jerseys are dope.
Yeah, how about that jersey? That's nice looking. It's a little loose here, but very tight on the arms there, Tim. Very tight on the arms.
But a 2X, I would have drowned.
Oh, you'd have been drowning in that thing for sure. Christy, my wife, awesome. Thanks for watching, Christy. She says, what time does tomorrow start?
The super matches start at 12:30.
12:30.
It says, and the tournament is like 1:30.
Gotcha. So I do believe there's going to be multiple live streams, I would assume.
I know Kevin Palco's doing
Kevin's
one.
doing his.
Filthy Animals
Filthy
is
Animals,
doing
yeah.
one.
I think somebody else, maybe one or two more people probably.
And they're all
live.
free.
Yeah.
There's no charge. Or
So make sure you guys check out Filthy Animals. Filthy Animals Arm Wrestling. Filthy Animals Arm Wrestling Club.
Yeah.
It's on YouTube. Make sure you guys check that out. And also check out Kevin Palco Arm Wrestling on YouTube also to watch the event live. At least the super matches should be live, if not more. I'm not sure about the tournament, if they're going to go live the entire time or not. But we'll find out tomorrow. So hopefully you guys can watch that. Let's, okay. Jeff Wilkinson, he says, what up, boys? What's up, Wilkie? How's it going, man?
He's
Reppin'.
excited for BAL.
Yeah. He's going to hopefully get Western PA, the Pittsburgh area. Hopefully they can get something started there. Tony Stansberry's here. Is Tim dominantly left or right? Tim, you want to answer that?
Yeah, my left is... my left right now is miles above my right.
Miles?
Yes.
Really?
Now, so my right had an injury in 2017. I tore my rotator, had surgery. So it's fine. Like, I'm not going to re-injure it, but it's never the same since that. So it's like, that's why my right is only kind of good for like 1 or 2 matches, and then it kind of gives out, and it can only do certain things. So I would say pre-2017, before that injury, they were closer. But my left was still a bit above because I have more hand control. And all my motor skills are left-handed, meaning I write left-handed,
Yeah.
I eat left-handed. But it's weird because I throw a baseball right-handed.
A little bit ambidextrous.
So it's not ambidextrous because like I could not throw left-handed. Like it would look like a girl. Like
really,
I can't go back and forth. Like I can only do certain things with my left and only do certain other things with my right.
Gotcha.
So I think strength-wise, they're pretty equal.
Okay.
But my ability to get to where I need to be in matches off a start and make adjustments in a match, my left is so far above. So, that's why you're still seeing me pull right-handed, but they're the guys that I'm pulling right arm are kind of on a much lower level than a lot of the left-handed matches that I take.
I gotcha. So pre, 2017 is that we
2017.
2017. So pre-2017, say your left was 100% and your right was 90%. What do you think the percentage is right to left at this point?
You mean back then or
no,
now?
Compared to now. Like you say your right was 90% back before 2017. What do you think your right percentage is to your left at this point right now?
Probably about 75 to 80%.
That's still pretty good.
Yeah.
That's still pretty good.
It is, but it's enough to where, the guys that matter, like, there's a big difference.
Yeah.
Like, locally and regionally, my right can still be in the mix. But, it's not top 20 material.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I got you. That's understandable. I think I saw one more here. Wilkie says, we're working on the club. Little salty. I can't make it out tomorrow, but I'll see yins at BAL. Awesome. I still have your strap. Don't let me forget your strap,
yeah.
Jeff. Let's get some lightweights out there for after pulls or something. Awesome. I'm probably light enough for you there, Jeff. 176. Okay, let's go. Okay, so let's kind of move on from that. We went over your events coming up. You're pretty booked for the next 6 months.
At
pretty
least
much.
a match a month.
Exactly. That's pretty busy, if you ask me. Very busy. I wanted to talk about cutting weight. I know that you had some nice philosophy on cutting weight and stuff. So can you kind of go over your thoughts on cutting weight and the advantages or disadvantages of the way that you would do things?
So there's two parts to this. There's how to cut weight, in my opinion, properly or most effectively. And then there's the whole conversation on when I think it's worth it versus not worth it to cut weight.
Okay.
So which one of those do you want me to talk about first?
No, the first one.
Okay. So the biggest mistake that I see people making when they're looking at cutting weight is they starve themselves. They severely go into a caloric deficit.
Mm-hmm.
And they end up weak at the tournament. They don't replenish. Okay? So they want...
Now we're talking about day of weigh-ins.
No, we're talking about standard night before.
Really?
Like most tournaments are.
Really? Wow.
Even with that. I've seen guys say they want to make 198.
Okay.
Okay? Let's just say it's 198. I've seen guys that are only 10 pounds over or less worry a week or two out, cut back on their food, okay, and they're at weight, they're at 198 1 or 2 days before the weigh-in.
Okay.
And they're like, oh, this is great. Right?
Yeah.
Well, no, it's not great because you're 10 pounds lighter and you're weaker.
Right.
Like, they try to avoid the pain and the awfulness that goes along with water cutting.
Yeah, it's not fun.
Because it's not fun.
It's not fun at all.
But the problem is that you have to realize that making weight is only half the battle. It's like we're going in here to war, and we have to feel strong.
Yeah.
So, when I was doing those, crazy weight cuts for WAL, 6-7 years ago, when ESPN, the $20,000, my regular walk around weight, eating comfortably, kind of whatever I wanted, was about 195.
Okay.
Back then.
Yeah.
Okay. I was making 165 on the scale.
Wow, that's 30
exactly,
pounds.
and that's
Holy
what
moly.
people were saying as well. So I would try to lose maybe 8-9 pounds in a couple weeks leading up by eating clean.
Yeah, just eating clean.
Yes.
Cutting down on carbs.
But I still would have 22 pounds to lose a week out.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So that's when I would go into my water loading, drinking 2.5 gallons of water, on Monday or Sunday before weigh-ins, and then, dropping that a half a gallon a day.
Yeah.
And, that works a little bit, but you know what? I was still sweating out those last 13, 14 pounds in those last 15, 16 hours before weigh-ins in a sauna.
Wow. So so in that regard, a sauna is practically
A
almost
sauna, a hot
required?
bath, whatever method, the hot baths, my skin is very fair, okay? I'm bare skinned. I physically cannot withstand the pain of that hot water.
Gotcha.
Okay?
Gotcha.
My skin will burn. Okay? If you're dark skinned, some people respond to that. Like, I
Okay.
can't do it. I'll get red and burn. So for me, dry sauna has always been the way to go.
Yeah.
Okay? No cardio.
None at all.
No cardio.
Wow.
You want to be in a rested state. You don't want to be working.
Right.
If you're working, you do cardio in that state,
Yeah.
you're going to go out anabolic. You're going to lose muscle mass. That's the last thing that you want.
Gotcha.
So, yes, again, you're getting the weight off faster. The sauna might take 7-8 hours. If you do cardio, it might only take 2. But what's the point of that?
What about doing cardio in the sauna? What do you think
You
about
know
that?
what I'm gonna say
What do you
to
think
that.
about that?
Not only is that, like, you're going to go into the
Yeah.
catabolic, that's borderline dangerous.
Yeah.
Not that any of this stuff isn't dangerous already,
Right.
but you're adding another layer to that. After you the goal is to be at that weight.
Right at the last.
Right at that last minute,
Yep.
get on that scale and start pounding fluid.
Yeah.
Like,
So you're dropping the water and
when
then
I
gaining it right
made
back.
when
Boom.
I made 165s, my weight was under 170 for less than an hour and a half.
Wow.
And it was immediately back over 170 within an hour of ways.
Yeah.
So, like, yes,
Major
I get
water
it. But,
manipulation.
like, my point is that, like, if you're going to do it, like, that's the only way to do it, or don't do it at all. Now, if it's a smaller weight cut,
Mm-hmm.
if you only have to lose 7 pounds, chances are that's not a water problem. That's just like you've been eating liberally.
Yeah.
But what you have to understand is that if you've been eating liberally and your diet has not been clean,
Mm-hmm.
your body might not respond to a lot of these water cutting methods because it's used to having like all that sodium and all that bad stuff.
Right.
So my advice is don't cut calories. Don't fast or diet, but eat clean for 1 week before.
Yeah.
So let me rephrase. If the tournament is, say, the 22nd, the week leading up is like the 15th to the 22nd.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the week before that.
Okay. So 2 weeks before.
So 2 weeks before tournament day,
Gotcha.
you want to eat clean for 1 week. Then the rest of it is a water load. Your body will respond to that fine.
Gotcha.
You can lose 12, 13 pounds, no problem.
Wow.
No problem.
But like you said, a sauna is almost required.
Yeah, and I mean, people say, like, you can find a sauna. If
Yeah.
you can,
Yeah.
get on here, call some gyms.
exactly.
What do you have, a
You can
$10
find one.
pay? But
Yeah.
it's how bad do you want it?
Yeah,
like
exactly.
it's not
Is the
going to
tournament
be
worth it?
convenient. Yes. So that brings me to my next point. When is it worth it?
Yeah.
Okay. So a big tournament, Michigan States,
Mm-hmm.
Florida States, Alabama States, a 400 or 500 entry tournament, you're in the middle of a class, you're 210, the weight classes are 198, 220. Sure, a weight cut is worth it for that.
Yeah.
For a local tournament, though, no. But then again, like, that's a guy like me talking that's been doing this for almost 20 years.
Right.
So, you know, that new or amateur, like, to them, you know, that
is their Michigan
pounds
State,
might matter.
You know, that is their big event at that point.
But, like,
earlier on in their
the thing
career.
is, though, is that if you're going to do it, you have to do it right.
Yeah.
You know? So, like, make sure that you know there's going to be, like, a good turnout in that class. Because, like, the worst is if, like, say you cut to 11 pounds and then, you know, there's only, like, 3 people in that weight class anyway. And,
Right.
You know what I mean? It's kind of a bummer.
Yeah. You did the work, but was it actually necessary? Yeah. Decisions that you have to make. What did Jeff say? All about clean eating. Cutting sugar out of the diet completely will cut 5 to 10 immediately.
Well, that's exactly what I meant by that week before of diet.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
Now, if people are eating like that, pretty clean all the time, well then they'll respond to the water load immediately. They won't have to do any of that.
Nice.
But, you know, I mean, I know as well, you know, I don't eat that way all the time. You know, I tried to eat that way for a couple weeks leading up to those WAL events because I know everything had to be perfect if I wanted to make that weight.
Yeah, that's a big weight cut there.
But I could cut from 193 to 176 without doing anything drastic, like a science, like every month or 2.
Just that water.
Without it being unsafe. I will admit, 165, completely unhealthy, unsafe. But 176 was not.
Yeah.
Not from 193.
No.
Now, you know, I could make 176 now, but like for me to make 198,
What are you sitting at right now?
215.
215
is my actual walk around weight.
Okay.
For me to make 98 now
Mm-hmm.
is like what it was for me to make 76 then.
Gotcha. Well, I mean, those are all really good points, and I hope anybody that's watching, write it down. You know, rewind this later. Write everything down so that way you can, you know, gather this information because it's valuable.
And you said something about same day weighs.
That affects
if you're
personally.
So if there are no night before weighs, or you're not willing to make the extra steps to do what it takes to weigh in the night before, like maybe that means, oh, I gotta drive an extra 2 hours or I gotta pay for a hotel. If you have more than 5 pounds to lose, don't even think about it.
No.
It's not worth it. Mm-hmm. And what I mean is your actual walk around weight. Like what I am, like, you know, if the class is, you know, 176, like, you know, if you're more than 5 pounds over, I would not even think about it.
Yeah.
If it's a same day weigh, and like you will not be able to recover. Like, will you make weight? Yes, but you will feel terrible. Like you're gonna, you know, be depleted. Like you're not gonna have any stamina.
Right.
And then, you know, you're gonna be looking for some type of excuse afterwards. Like,
Yeah.
it's just not worth it.
I gotcha.
You know.
I gotcha. Okay. So we went over those couple points here. What the matches that you have coming up? Which ones do you think that you're the most excited for? The ones that you're looking forward to.
Just out of the ones that we
the ones that you have scheduled right now.
Well, you know what's
what
hard
ones?
about this question is that, like, right now, like, I'm just focusing on how hard I'm going to hit Dominic tomorrow.
Oh, wow. Watch out.
So, like, you know, but, like, you know what I mean? Like, your mentality kind of has to be like that.
Yeah.
As a competitor.
Take it one at a time, right?
But, you know, if we're, you know, trying to be proactive, you know, if I'm looking through those names, I mean, if I'm looking at if I'm looking at just realistically, like who's ranked where and like which one of these wins is probably going to like, look best from like a clout perspective, I mean, it's probably Joey Melendez left-handed.
That's going to be a great match.
Okay. But, there's other things that like make me look like I really, really am looking forward to the Cole match.
Yeah, that'll be a fun one.
Like our styles are so similar. We are both inside grinders.
Yeah.
And big bench press.
Oh, nice.
Okay. So even though on paper, I don't think like that win isn't going to like, it's not like I'm going to move up in the national rankings if I win that match.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
But I think we both want that match really bad.
Nice.
Like really bad. So I would say like out of the ones on here, that is probably the one that is like we're like most like personally invested.
Yeah, you're looking forward to that the most. That's exactly what my point was for sure. And I'm looking forward to that. I can't wait. Where's that match at?
La Crosse, Wisconsin. I know it's Wisconsin.
Okay.
I want to say La Crosse, or it's like towards the Minnesota side though.
Gotcha,
It's pretty far out.
So pretty much a given that I'm not going to be at that event. Pretty much a given on that one. That's okay though.
Roman Moore's supposed to go though.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Good. I thought he was coming with you today.
Well, he had a little like hiccup at track practice and like I guess something with his back and like the chiropractor like shut him down for a couple weeks. So, I mean, it doesn't sound like it's too bad, but it was just unfortunately bad timing.
That's a bummer.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of Roman. He's a good kid. Since you just mentioned you and Cole being benchers, let's talk about that real quick. How about your bench training? You're able to do a lot of weight on the bench, and you're posting all these videos on Instagram and Facebook and stuff, and that's some pretty good weight. Can you talk about that for a second and like maybe go over some things that you're looking forward to in your benching career, and maybe even some bench goals for this year?
So there's really only one bench goal that's left at this point. I want to hit 500 pounds.
Now, is this just a personal goal, Tim, or is this?
It is.
Or is
what do you think it is? I mean,
is there like competition somewhere that you're doing?
So there was a Russian. There was a Russian that just benched 600 pounds at 200 pounds.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I mean, so. It's not like this is any kind of a world record. In fact, it's not even a state record. I mean, Derek Melenstein, who lives in Texas now, did 541 at 198. And this is 198. Like, we're talking about 220 here. Like, I think the record is like 575 or something like that. At least the last time I looked. Now, I think this is one of those things. It goes back to high school. Like, it's stupid.
So what I'm getting at, this is all just, your benching is all just personal?
Yes.
Like you're just going to the gym.
It hinders arm wrestling. If I
thought you were going to competitions or something like that.
If I did not bench,
okay,
I would definitely be better at arm wrestling. If I did not arm wrestle, I would probably be better at benching. These sports don't mix well.
So you gotta love.
But I love both of them.
Boy.
It's not like they're complementing. Like, it took me years to figure out how to balance it.
Gotcha.
And the way you balance it is, it's little bits of high frequency and you don't do too much. So yes, I can bench 3 days a week, sometimes even 4. But I go in the gym, I warm up, I do my 3 or 4 working sets, Pretty much done.
Yeah.
I don't do incline, decline, dumbbell flies,
So
dumbbell.
it's all
I'm
bench.
pretty much in there. I bench. I might do a couple press downs, and I'm out of there.
Yeah.
I'm done in an hour.
See,
And
here
then
I
2
thought-
days later, I'll go back. No,
I thought this was all for like some competition or something.
well, I do
like
competition. So there are competitions that you go to for powerlifting.
that. Okay.
But powerlifting, there's squatting and deadlifting. I mean, I don't think I've trained my legs in 10 years. So
Arm wrestlers don't train their legs, people.
I only go to those competitions, and I will sign up for the bench only division.
Now, how often do you do that? Like
Once a year.
Once a year. Okay.
Because it's not like arm wrestling. You're not trying to beat no guys.
Right.
It's I'm going in there to hit a number, to beat my previous number, and then it's stored in a database. Like, people ask me, am I going to win? I'm going to be like, most likely, no one in my weight class will even bench 400. But, like, if they do, I don't care. I'm not going there really caring about who else is there. It's because, arm wrestling is different. Like, we have rankings, but it's still subjective. In powerlifting, here it is. Like, here's the order of weights. Like, so I don't care whether it's a big meet or a small meet. I just have to do that weight with judges on a platform under standard conditions, and then get the lift account, and then it's put on, what do they call it, openpowerlifting.com or whatever now. And like, there it is. Nobody can dispute that. Nobody can say, oh, it's just a gym lift, or you didn't get a video, or, because all these guys, it's like, we're back in high school. And I'm like, where's your proof?
Yeah, exactly.
Where's your record? Oh, yeah, so your body helped you. Like, I want it documented, legitimate,
So that's what you're working for in the gym.
So
it's for that one
why
time.
do I want the 500? So I literally just think it all goes back to, like, I was a nothing in high school.
Okay.
Like most of the kids that I knew in high school, they were the star of the show on Friday night. Like, they wore the football jersey. Like, I was just like, so,
kids.
I kind of like grew in love with lifting and like all that. But like, you kind of say it, like, is it, it's kind of like, oh, like, if a kid says like, oh, they want to be like, I don't know, a firefighter when they grow up, or they want to, play for like, well, like, and you're benching, and it's like, okay, well, like someday, like, I'm going to bench 500, and so it's like, the funny thing is like, none of these people even care anymore. But like, it's almost like this obsession with like proving it to yourself.
Yeah.
Type of a thing.
Yeah. I think like, so you have that. Mine is to get to the center column on the OPAR rankings. That's my 500 bench.
It's just how like people in arm wrestling will be like, they want to win a state title, or they want to get into the, whatever. They want to get in the top 5 in Ohio, or whatever it is. They create some kind of a goal.
Yeah.
But like, this was different, because this is like the pinnacle. It's like a lifetime goal.
Wow. And you've been working at this goal for how long?
Well, I started benching when I was 14, but realistically, like, actually talking about this 500 with it being somewhat in the realm of reasonability, I would say about 5 or 6 years now.
Okay.
And it really takes that long to achieve something like that.
I've heard of people only being able to put 5-10 pounds on their bench in 2 years.
But that's how it gets when you get to these top levels. It's just like arm wrestling.
Yeah.
You know,
when you can shoot up so far, but
Yes.
once you get up to that weight, you're moving just
but
minuscule. Little
you know, I'll
spots.
always love bench, and it's like, okay, like if I hit 500, like I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh, well, yeah, because I mean, you always want more,
Yeah.
but I can say that I would be somewhat satisfied after that. Like
Yeah.
more would be good, but like you know, I'm not as excited about 520 or
Right.
like you know what I mean.
Yeah. Now, let me ask you this. Say you hit this 500-pound goal on bench, right? Now, you hit that. Say you hit that in 2 years or whatever it.
Well, I'm trying to hit it next month.
Oh
but
my goodness! Next month. Okay.
Before all those
Oh
matches
my
come into play.
god. Jeez. So theoretically, you hit that number. Do you just stop shooting for a goal and benching, and then
Here's the problem.
put more effort
With
into arm wrestling?
benching, you have to realize that if you don't keep pushing, you're kind of done. And that's the hard part.
Yeah. No, what do you think you would do? You hit that 500. Do you
It's
think
hard
you continue
because
to do that, or do you?
The smart part of me would say it's time to move on to another goal.
Okay.
Because realistically,
But the way that you said that, makes me think that there's another side to the story.
The risks that may be involved health-wise with trying to push for 550 at a guy that's only 5'6",
Yep.
and the amounts of foods that might have to be eaten, and calories and supplements, and
That's another part-time and full-time
and realization, that you don't want to realize that you're going to be 40 in a little over a year. Kind of tend that, maybe walking around at 195 and trying to get a higher ranking in arm wrestling and working your hand and all that, might be a smarter option. But
there's a but
known
there.
to do some
There's a but
crazy
there.
stuff too.
Okay.
So it's let's hit the 500
See how you feel.
and then cross that. But that's the honest answer. Is
Yep.
I realize that the amount of things that I would have to do to get to 550 would probably be very unhealthy and unwise.
So let me throw this out there. Okay, so say you hit that goal and you want to hit another goal. So it becomes dangerous at that point, semi-dangerous at that point to hit that 550 goal. Okay, so you have that option. Or you say, okay, I'm going to give bench and maybe just do 300, 400 here and there. Okay, now you go from that to, all right, now I can work my hand.
Yes.
And
exactly.
And you don't have to work. I tell you don't even work your hand at all. You don't train for arm
the
wrestling.
reason is because everything is bench.
Right. So how
It's
strong
not
could
the-
your hand get
Exactly.
in a year, and the capability of your left arm being, maybe what 20%
Because
better?
the other side of the coin is that I realize that if I ever want to try to crack into the top 5, the focus cannot be on bench.
No.
But
all
it's like
back pressure in
until
hand.
I hit that 5, I'm not willing to let that go.
That goal is possibly achieved next month, though. So there's a good chance that you guys might see a really strong finger and wrist here coming. We'll see though. Hopefully you hit that 500 bench. I'll definitely pray for you to hit that goal.
There
in
are
your
some
life.
other arm wrestlers that have been notorious for bench, but they're very few and far between.
Yeah. We're not much of a pushing sport, arm wrestlers. More of a pulling.
No.
We do have a couple comments here. Let's see these. Let's see. DJ Fenton's here. Do you taper your workouts before your arm wrestling competitions?
No, I benched today.
Oh my goodness.
It was lighter weight. It was,
Oh my goodness!
It was only 365.
Only 365 right before an arm
But it
wrestling
doesn't
super match the
affect
next
me.
day. It's the two different
But
motions.
doing arm wrestling first, I can't bench after.
Oh, okay. Too much damage.
But if I bench, it will not affect me on the table.
Gotcha. And that's years of just experimenting
And just
knowing
knowing
exactly
what weights
what
to do. Now, I wouldn't go for no max or anything like that, but I'll do a regular workout. Now, will I taper before a bench? Me? Absolutely.
Okay.
But not arm wrestling.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, that's good points. Everybody take note on that one. You might see a Tim Lewis coming for the bigger name.
Now, that doesn't mean I recommend going out and benching before your tournament.
No, don't do that. Yeah. Don't do that. So we talked about that. Let's go back to arm wrestling real quick. Mm-hmm. How about we talked about the matches that you are most excited for? Cole, Joey, looking forward to those matches. Let's talk about some past matches that you've had. Maybe note a couple matches that you're happy with, and then I'm just curious on one of the matches that you're really proud of. Maybe one that you really worked for, and one that you really said, "Man, I'm glad that I did this match, and it was a good experience, and I hit my goal in that match."
So we're only talking about super match, or
any match that you want to talk about. You could let's say
two matches that
your
really
favorite
come
tournament
to mind
match,
are,
and then your favorite super match.
Two, matches that really come to mind, and they were both losses, but they were like minute plus matches.
Wow.
And nobody really expected me to do anything. So the first one is a name that the newer guys might not know. He kind of really hasn't been around for a while, but Chase Stratton from Missouri. We had a grinder war at like a AAA Nationals, and I want to say it was 2011 down in Alabama. We were in a 187 class.
Okay.
Just out of nowhere, just had a war. No one expected that.
And that was in a tournament?
In that Caribbean's Nationals, yes.
Okay.
And then the other one was me and Tony Kukowski got into a war at the semifinals of the WAL regional qualifier in Vegas, and I want to say that was 2015.
Another war there.
Yeah.
So
Loss.
So these
but
matches
that no one would have expected. Just I'm
Gotcha.
going to go up there and get whacked.
Yeah.
And it turned out to be a war.
Yeah.
So it's funny that those losses came to mind before any super match that I ever had.
That's awesome.
Because
you put everything into it. I'm guessing you were redlined for 80%
because
of those matches.
that was back when tournaments had like there was more value. Like a national title was more coveted than in the current environment.
Yeah.
Oh my God, super matches. There have been so many of those.
Especially in recent time, you've been super match crazy, haven't you?
Yeah, if we're trying to think about my best win, or if we're just looking at something entertaining, I came back from there was a match, and I think this was before the injury that we talked about. It had to be, because I would have never been pulling this guy otherwise. But oh my God, what the guy? He's from the South. It was a right-handed match, and I'm trying to think. Oh, Cody Franklin. Okay.
All right.
We had a match in Florida, and it was a best out of 5. I think it was right-handed for $500 down at one of the Florida events. And I mean, Cody's pretty good. Okay, like he's regionally known as like one of the best 198s down in South. So I get down there, get whacked twice. Okay, you know, get flat, you know, pressed, just, oh, this was bad. Okay. And like, I'll never forget this. Chris Chandler was there. Okay.
All right.
And like, you know how like you have these corner men and like all that. And, you know, like all they like, oh, like you have all this technique. So he pulls me over into my corner and he said, Tim, he said, just go up there and arm wrestle. Like, you're better than this. Like, put him inside. Like, I mean, that was it. Like, I mean, like he didn't give me really, like he's basically like, what are you doing? Like, pull your head out of your ass.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. And I went up there and whacked him 3 times.
Nice.
So here, you have all these guys from Florida being like, Chris, what did you tell him? Chris, what did you tell him? And like, they didn't believe, like they thought like there was like some big secret or something. And
gotcha.
Like, no. And I mean,
I saw I think I saw a video of that.
I think I top rolled him in one of the matches too.
Wow.
But he was kind of pressing at me and like inviting it.
Yeah.
So I mean that was one, because like my right arm is, you know, it still wasn't what my left was, right? You know, even at the time.
Gotcha.
But you know, that's one that, you know, really sticks out as like coming back from like a tough situation.
Yeah. I really enjoyed the match that you had with Randy Duff at the last Pottery Festival. That was a favorite of mine that I've seen you pull. That was
like a local version of what I'm talking about.
We had like, there had to have been 150 people standing around, maybe 200 people standing around, and it was going. That place was going nuts.
He just was getting so frustrated too. Yeah. Like it was.
It was a great match. I loved watching that match very much. I mean, I saw you thinking in your head after the first 2 matches, what do I need to do?
I knew
as soon as it got
if
stopped.
I did not get flashed that I was winning. I mean, we knew this going into the match. Yeah. But it's like I still had to find a way to stop
you had to find a way to do it. Yeah. And I think it might have just been Randy's... you know, it might have just started to gas a little bit. I do believe, you know.
Or I was just taking a little bit away from his hit every time.
Yeah. Yeah, he had a fierce hit those first couple rounds for sure.
Because that's what was happening with Jason Tarver in Texas, too. Like, every time I kept stopping him, it got easier and easier to stop him. But it was the same thing. Those first 2 rounds, I was flashed. Like...
Your nickname should be the comeback kid instead of the road.
Yeah, but I've also been up 2-0 and have blown matches too, and those were interesting.
Yeah, to say the least, right?
You know.
Okay, so we went over that couple things. Let's change gears. I want to talk about these East versus West qualifiers we have going on in America right now, in the United States. The East versus West qualifiers that are qualifiers to get some of the best United States pullers some exposure and to travel to Istanbul, Turkey, to be featured on Engin Terzi's East versus West Supermatch promotion over there. So let's talk about that for a little bit. Let's.
So talking specifically about the qualifiers,
Yeah.
not like
Yeah.
the whole
Yeah.
concept
Let's
in
talk
general.
about the qualifiers.
Okay.
Yeah, so we got, what do we got? Florida.
Florida, Indiana, New Jersey.
New Jersey.
There's talk of maybe Travis doing
California
something in
one,
West
isn't there?
Virginia, and then I don't know if the West Virginia one is set in stone, but yes, California is the other one. Yes.
There was one in Texas too, or no? Am I?
Well, I thought there were.
Yeah, there was
four.
one in TAL, was Texas Arm Wrestling League is
So that would
handling
be
one
6?
also. I want to say 6.
Okay.
Something like that. So there's going to be a lot of opportunity for some pullers to get some nice exposure. You know, if they're able to do well at one of these events. You know, so Ingen, you know, might be. You know, you might not win one of these events, but I think Ingen's paying attention to these events, and if he sees some really, really good matches, I think it could help your case.
I think that, I mean, you know, the idea of like, you know, the grand prize or whatever. I mean, I like that. You know, I think there is also some kind of reasonability here that, okay, well, like, you know, who realistically would have a real chance at like winning that and yada, yada, yada. But we kind of touched on this earlier, is we need to do something to make winning a tournament or wanting to invest in spending a lot of money and travel and time and you know, weight cut preparation, like what is going to make Tim Lewis want to have that same fire again that I did in 2015 to pull a tournament? Because when WAL was doing that format and I could place 6th and get $500 and get a free trip back to Vegas and go to the finals, I was all in. But you know, if it's just first place,
now
and it's
out
not
of these
left
qualifiers,
arm,
is it just first? Because I heard that these qualifiers, you have to win the qualifiers, and then they all go to one other thing.
My
and then you have to win that.
understanding of it, and again, do not quote me on this being exact, but from my understanding, if there's 4 or 6 qualifiers, and I think there's going to be one in Europe or something as well, or Canada. Okay,
Yeah,
but
I think
whatever.
there's Canada,
So,
Brazil. There's multiple.
I think
in
they are
Europe and
taking
everything.
the top 2
Really nice.
at each of these qualifiers.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, do you think Inge's doing this because he's running out of bodies? You know, because he's keeping having the same guys do a lot of these events, and I think he wants some fresh blood in this.
I don't want to speak and try to, you know, get in his head or think about why he is, you know, doing it this way, or like, you know what the goal is. But, you know, there has been, I think, a little bit of maybe heat or backlash, and, you know, WAL got a little bit of this as well, especially when they were doing the super matches, right?
Okay.
And, you know, there was some commentary or discussion to the effect of, well, you're only picking certain guys, or, you know, you're noticing that guy, but like, what about me? And like, so, okay. So I will agree with it in this format. If there is somebody out there that is really that badass, go prove it. Go beat him.
Yeah.
Go beat him.
Yeah.
And that's what he's giving. So maybe that's what he's thinking. Okay. So
maybe that giant is gonna come out.
But you know what? I mean, that's
Come out
fine.
of it, yeah.
I mean, I like it. But let's talk about this. So you got 2 guys per weight class at each one of the qualifiers. And from my understanding, like anybody that's already currently getting matches in East versus West would not be in there because what would be the point?
Exactly.
Okay, so, but still, then 2 times 6 is 12. Then there's going to be a finals, and then you have to win that.
And now only that one person is qualified to go to East versus West? Wow.
So
you got to climb the pyramid.
And I mean, I like it. If that's the point, I like it. But, you know, what attraction, though, does it have for, like, the regular tournament goer? Like, you see what I'm going with that?
Yeah.
Like,
if you're not part of that top
if you know
3%.
you're not even in the top 10 in the United States.
Exactly.
Like,
what's the point?
Now, I mean, maybe the point is, like, okay, it's going to be a good tournament. I mean, a lot of people went to WAL.
Yeah.
Just because they wanted to participate. Like, they knew that they were. But see, like, I was kind of going into WAL. Like, realistically being like, okay, like, can I win this? Yeah, probably not. But I really thought I could take 5th or 6th. And, like, I did. But, like, and I felt like I was rewarded for that. Like, I got something for that. Now, was it much? No. But, I mean, it was like 2 seconds of ESPN time where, like, I think they showed, like, Paul Talbot smashing me, or, like, my name was up there and then he smashed me for, like, 2 seconds.
Yeah.
And then, like, you know, there was a, you know, like I said, I got a free trip to Vegas for the finals.
Nice.
Stipend. And $500. And I'm like, okay. Like, that's not a ton, but it made it worth it. And, like, the experience that they gave you while you were there and the setup, like, you know what I mean? It felt real. Like, most tournaments
Like you felt you were being part of something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Something that was, like, once in a lifetime. Like, it was like, you do it now because it's not going to stick around. Like, it's something that, you know what I mean? You
better jump on the train before it takes off. Yeah.
So, this is an attempt, I think, to kind of copy some of what WAL was doing then. But, like, I don't think they have the same end goal. I think some of it is this, okay, like, if there's a badass, let them come prove themselves.
Yeah, we want to find the giant out there. Yeah, exactly. I think we got a couple of chats here. Let's see here. The Drew 24 is here. What up, dog? Let's see here.
Who?
The Drew 24. He's actually a moderator for me. I have a moderator. Watch out. I got him on episode 2, I do believe, with Greg Arnold. That was a fun one. We was there for 3 hours and 15 minutes on that one. That was a long one. That was a real long one. JH Pipe Fitting, getting her done. I respect how much Tim Lewis pulls during a calendar year, for sure. Yeah, he definitely puts his arm on the table a lot. Wilkie says, I think he is interesting in expanding on a huge scale. He's talking about Engen. Yeah.
Well, and I mean, okay, like, maybe he's making some money, but I don't think that's his primary objective. I mean, he really wants to give back to the sport.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And then also, Josh Batchelor, he says, Tim, have you heard anything from Mike Justice? He says he hasn't heard any.
Who is that?
Apparently, he thought that you knew who that was. He said he hasn't heard from him in forever. Mike Justice. I don't know who.
Oh, Mike Justice. We'll talk about him. But he had one of the best excuses for not coming to a practice or a tournament that we were going to go to once. It was the best excuse I ever heard.
Okay.
He said that the cows. He had to chase the cows down. They escaped.
Dude, cows escape their pens all the time. I tell you what, and then you got to go chase them down the road. I have a friend that had some cows, and those things were always breaking out of their area. So Mike Justice is the guy that had to chase the cows.
He was a new guy that realized the gaps.
Oh yeah, major gaps.
And it was
yeah.
kind of like run for the hills, like you know.
He goes, I might not be cut out for this, so I'm gonna go chase some cows, and that's okay. You know, I've had quite a few guys come our way as far as East Ohio.
I can't believe Josh even. Well, I think he would know because he lives, I think, right by.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, oh my God, that was a couple years ago.
That's funny. That's funny. We've got a couple guys that have come and gone quickly, but that's okay.
You always have.
You're always gonna have that.
But they're always welcome back.
For sure.
You know.
Sure. So we are about almost about an hour and a little over an hour so far. So if anybody has any questions for Tim, post them in the chat. We're going to be wrapping it up here soon. But yeah, so I did want to talk about the rest of the super matches.
Yes.
Like, we got some good super matches going on tomorrow.
Well, obviously, Kevin and John is like the big head.
Oh, man.
And, I was talking to Bart earlier tonight, and I mean, what do you think? Like, is this arguably, like, for number one in the Northeast?
I think so.
And, I mean, I don't want to leave out anyone, but in terms of, like, who is more active than both of these guys?
I can't think of anybody in the 54s.
And, and Bart Ward did mention, Paul Fisher, and him in the mix. But, the difference is, like, you will see John and Kevin, like, they will pull out of region. Like, they will go to other states. They will, and I mean, some of these other guys where I'm like, okay, like, they have a win here, but I'm like, they primarily only pool in a 250-mile radius.
Yeah.
And, to really make that argument of, like, you want to be the best in, and I am still counting Ohio as part of the Northeast.
Yeah.
But,
very west of it, yeah.
I don't really see anybody else that's active right now really beating either one of these two guys right now.
Yeah.
So, Kevin, people think is a heavy favorite.
See, I've heard other people say that they think John's a heavy favorite. So,
Kevin,
I think it's whoever you're,
inside,
more close to.
And I think strength wise favors Kevin, but I think setup, speed, outside game all favors John.
Wow, yeah. Yeah, all I know is I got smoked by both of them, so I couldn't compare which one I think would win. They both flash pinned me, so I have no way of knowing.
But I'm hoping for a close match.
Now, okay, so we're talking mainly right hand here. Now, what do you think left hand?
You mean between them?
They're going left-handed too, so they're going to do right-handed first and then left-handed directly.
I think
after.
Kevin wins easy.
You think? No, I think Johnny is a lot lower on the left-handed rank.
I think John has a very, very good chance right-handed.
Yeah.
But left,
Let's talk percentages. Right hand. What do you think percentages wise? Where do you?
I
where
would put Kevin at a very slight advantage right-handed, like maybe 55-40.
That's what I was thinking, 55%.
But I think when we're talking left, it's like 80-20.
Wow. Okay. All right. Well, we'll see. We'll definitely see tomorrow. You guys make sure you check out Filthy Animals Arm Wrestling YouTube channel. Yeah, so we got Kevin and Johnny Hanoski right and left. We got you and Mr. Dominic Wiswell left-handed. That is a left-handed match. He called Tim out, so let's see if the young buck has anything for Tim. We have the tournament director, Juan Carlos Ortega, and against a man called Lunchbox. Am I correct? I think it's
and
Lunchbox.
Was
or
it
something
the
like that.
and I think that's the guy that had a match with John Isol,
I can't remember this
while ago.
gentleman's name.
But I don't remember the. Wait a minute, I have a flyer.
There you
here.
go. Perfect. If
I
I
said
had all
the-
my other stuff, I'd be able to pull this stuff up, but that's okay.
Um,
Little bit of a last minute.
so Ortega. Oh, it's Bill Connor.
No. No, that's not Bill Connor. That's definitely not Bill Connor right there. Look.
Oh, so his name is Connor, but like they call him the Lunchbox.
Yeah. I can't remember his first name.
I don't remember his first name.
This is an old one too, because that match isn't happening.
But it's still on their thing. They just didn't take it down.
Oh, okay. So we got Simpson and Kretschmer, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I know that Kretschmer, I think he's primarily more of an inside puller.
Okay.
I don't know much about the Simpson guy, though. Like, I have to be honest.
I think that was the gentleman that was at weigh-ins
Yes,
tonight. Okay.
yes, that we talked
Okay.
about.
We talked.
Yes.
We talked to Mr. Simpson at the early weigh-ins tonight. But I tell you what, it doesn't take but one awesome match to get everybody talking in the arm wrestling community and coming out to an event. You know, Kevin and Johnny, it's a big deal. It's a big deal, and I applaud Juan for getting the match. You know, he had.
Well, and it's crazy that it's been 5 or 6 years since they've pulled at all.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Well, they pulled at a practice.
Yes, but I'm
But that's
talking
it.
about a match.
Gotcha.
And I guess that, that they said it was at one of Randall's in Cincinnati.
I think Kevin
But
said that they pulled a
5
winter
years.
blast, but it
Oh,
was in
yeah.
the tournament though, and I
Yes.
think it was only one time. And I think Johnny got the best of him at that one. I think he flashed Kevin.
I think
believe.
he said that Kevin got one, and then John got one, and then Kevin got one.
Oh,
later.
okay. Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe one of these days we'll get everything ironed out and everything. Let's check the chat and see if what do we got here. Okay, let's see here. Scott has a match right.
Scott who?
Scott who? Batch who? Who are you talking about? Scott.
Well,
Let's see.
Scott Ajola, but that's next week at BAL. He's pulling Joe T.
Scott, yeah. Scott Agulia, yeah.
So that's not here.
That's left-handed.
It is.
Yeah, and
Oh, the other
we
match.
got
Rich
another match.
Calero and Joe T.
And Joe T right hand tomorrow. Man, how do we forget these things? Holy moly!
Because it wasn't on my original flyer
Yeah.
that we just cheated and looked at.
Now, what do you think about that match? Joe T faced your match for June, Mr. Joey Melendez, I do believe. Isn't that what the match was at the
And,
BAL 1?
And that was not close.
It was not close. So hopefully, let's see see what happens.
Joe, really, I've seen versions of him
Mm-hmm.
where he showed up and he's looked good. But it was a couple years ago. What I see at least is it looks like his training appears to be very inconsistent.
Okay.
So, seeing what I've seen in the past 6 months, I mean, I'm picking Rich 3-0.
Okay. Rich 3-0.
But if Joe has been really training hard for this match with Scott,
Yeah.
and he's been consistent, and because me and Joe had a couple really, really good matches a couple years ago, and won a Seth Dawkins tournament somewhere like over by Sandusky.
Gotcha.
But like I said, that was a different version of him. If that version shows up tomorrow, I think we could have a match. But it's just the last couple times I've seen Joe Poole, he's been way under what I know his potential is.
Okay. So Joe, if you're watching, Tim's pulling for you. He wants you to show up tomorrow and have a good match.
I mean, Scott's going to bust his hand back next week if he doesn't find a way to get inside. I mean, if Joe can get into a deep hook.
What do you think about him? I'm talking Joe and Rich for tomorrow. That's what I'm talking about.
I don't see Joe, but I mean,
if Joe shows up, do you think he has a chance against Rich?
No.
No, not at all.
I think Rich is, because even if Rich gets inside, I think he still wins that match.
Okay.
Pretty easily.
So what are you going, 90-10?
Yeah.
90-10. Those are big odds in favor of Rich Galero from Tim Lewis.
Rich's right is legit.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I couldn't do nothing with it.
I can't either. I don't know many
I'm
people
not
that
going to sit here and say I would either.
I know I can't.
You know?
I know we had a chat here. Let's see here. My contacts are messing up. Batch says Kevin will bury. Wilkie, no question, but you better get your butt back in the berg because I'm trying to kick it into gear. Not sure what that meant. Batch said, oh, okay. Tony Stansbury says, good luck tomorrow. Batch said, Rich blew through Joe in Michigan, and he will do it again, no problem.
I mean, I agree with that.
Okay.
And like I said a lot of the reason for this is because I'm not convinced that Joe has been consistent with his training. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. It's just like that's what his performance is like. That's what I've been seeing.
Okay. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well, make sure you guys check it out tomorrow. Batch says Rich is dedicated as HE-double-hook.
Rich never stops training.
No.
He
He works in the gym.
Yeah.
Lives in the gym. I mean, that's the if you want to be, strong, that's the best place to work is right in the gym. I guarantee you that. You're right there every day. You might as well lift something while you're there. But Tim, I appreciate your time. Thanks for being on the podcast. This has been a lot of fun, for me. It's been a good time. I hope everybody had a good time in the chat, and I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Check out the live stream tomorrow on Kevin Palco Arm Wrestling.
Like
also,
we said, about 12:30.
Yeah, about 12:30.
PM.
Also, check out Filthy Animals Arm Wrestling Club on YouTube also. So, Tim, thanks again for coming, and appreciate you being a guest on the podcast, man. I really appreciate it. Everyone, you guys have a wonderful night, and tune into the show tomorrow. We'll see you. God bless.